UFC promotional machine takes over the Strip in Las Vegas. And there is one of tomorrow's main eventers, 5th-ranked lightweight Michael the Menace Johnson. The Slick Striker's best performance came in a UFC main event, and he'll be ready to repeat in Sin City. And there is the biggest wild card in the lightweight division, the undefeated Justin Gaethje. He has dominated every opponent he has faced outside of the UFC. Tomorrow will be his first test inside the octagon. And there are your Ultimate Fighter Redemption finalists, Diego Lima and Jesse Taylor. Neither fighter has ever lost in the house, but who can deliver on the big stage tomorrow night? Live from the Park Theater on Las Vegas Boulevard, this is the Ultimate Fighter Finale Weigh-In Show. Tomorrow they fight, today they weigh in. Hello everyone and welcome to Las Vegas. I am Karen Bryant alongside 3-time title challenger Mr. Kenny Florian, former Bantamweight champ Dominic Cruz, and UFC correspondent Megan O'Leary. And Flo, let's get right to our main event. It is really one of the best free agent signings the UFC has had in quite some time. Of course, talking about Justin Gaethje, 17-0, 14 knockouts. Why should fans get excited about seeing him fight Michael Johnson?
Well, I don't care where you're fighting. If you have 17 fights and you're undefeated, you got to be an excellent fighter, and Justin Gaethje is just that. He's a throwback fighter from the early 2000s. He's a wrestler, brawler. He's been saying it all week. He likes to bring violence into the cage, and that's exactly what he is. This kid is violent. He leads with his chin. He's the live by the sword, die by the sword kind of guy, and I expect a knockout tomorrow night.
And honestly, that's what makes this fun, is Michael Johnson thinks under the exact same mind frame. I mean, he wants to go out there and put you down. He's going to knock your lights out, or he's going to put you on the ground and try to choke you. But more than anything, he's known for stand-up fights, whereas Gaethje can mix in his wrestling with his punches. The real question is, can Gaethje hold down to Michael Johnson? He's extremely athletic, hits very hard, very long, and more than anything, fast, especially with his punching combinations.
Yeah, and there's already bad blood brewing between those two, so they both have something to prove. But Megan, tomorrow in our final, either Diego Lima or Jesse Taylor will finally earn redemption. They'll get the shiny trophy, also $250,000.
Right, and Kenny, that's what they offered you if you were
Exactly.
getting the Ultimate Fighter. Yeah, so not only are all of those things on the line, but this is a lot about pride, right? Let's talk about Jesse Taylor's journey to getting to this point. He earned the status in the finals, was removed. Diego Lima lost in the season 19 finale. They are both ready for this. A second time around is like new life for the two of them.
Yeah, both of them real true redemption stories right now. The fighters are set for our ceremonial weigh-in, so here is our master of ceremonies, the future president of the United States, Mr. Brian Stanton.
What's up, everybody? All right, welcome to the UFC weigh-in show. Please help me welcome to the stage the lovely Chrissy Blair, Brooklyn Wren, Vanessa Hansen, Vice President of Talent Relations Sean Shelby, Mick Maynard, and the soon-to-be Hall of Famer Joe Silva in the house. All right, in our first match, kicking off the UFC Fight Pass prelims in the women's strawweight division, Tecia Tiny Tornado Torres versus Juliana Jutai Lima.
Shiz has won 4 of her last 6 fights, actually trains with legendary Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructor Vinicius Draculino Magalhães. She loves knees in the clinch. You gotta watch out for her clinch game. She actually has 10 Muay Thai fights. She was very successful over there and has been a pro since 2010.
115.5 for Juliana Lima. And her
exciting fighter to watch.
Tecia Tiny Tornado Torres.
Well, it has been a very busy couple of months for Tecia Torres. In that amount of time, she finished her master's degree, got engaged, and moved across country from Florida to Colorado. She is now officially having her first fight with Team Pennington. She has been training all the while. Tiny Tornado staying busy.
115 even for Tecia Torres. And our featured bout of the Fight Pass prelims in the featherweight division, Gray, the Bully Maynard versus Teruto Ishihara.
Teruto Ishihara, or Teru, as the guys at Team Alpha Male call him. He is such a character, as you can see. He can't wait to get out there on the scale. He said he's put on about 10 pounds of muscle since working with a strength and conditioning coach. He believes that's going to be a key to victory.
Teruto Ishihara. the bully, Maynard.
Gray Maynard is somebody that not very many people don't know when it comes to Ultimate Fighting. He has 19 UFC fights, was on the tough season number 5, Pulver versus Penn, and now here he is getting ready to fight again.
145.5 for Gray Maynard.
Gray Maynard discovered MMA on accident. He was helping BJ Penn with his wrestling in Hawaii, and now here he is. He's also had 2 other fights at 145, so let's see how he does in this matchup with ISHIHARA.
Kicking off the FS1 prelims in the women's bantamweight division. Jessica Evil Eye versus Aspen Ladd.
A big prospect here in the women's bantamweight division is Aspen Ladd. She is undefeated at 5-0. Tomorrow night she makes her UFC debut, and she said she's making it very clear she's getting in the octagon with a mission.
135 for Aspen Ladd.
She wants to get into that pocket and throw down with Jessica Eye.
Jessica Evil Eye.
Well, there's Jessica Eye, has some new hair for everyone. Hopefully she's gonna bring a new style. She has struggled a little bit in the octagon her last few fights, but you know, she's been training obviously in Cleveland. She's one of the training partners of Stipe Miocic, the baddest man on the planet right now, and you know, needs to get back in the win column. This is a very important fight for her.
135.5 for Jessica.
She's never struggled with belief in herself necessarily, been a confident woman, but like you said, Kenny, he's just had some ups and downs and hasn't found that consistency.
Kenny, you mentioned that hair. She told me she was channeling Storm.
Ah, I like that. I may do that.
too.
I may do that.
All right, next up in the light heavyweight division, Ed Short Fuse Herman versus CB the Doberman Dollaway.
CB Dollaway trains with Seth Baczynski, Ryan Bader, Eric Larkin at Power MMA in Arizona. His partners say, I can't stand going with him. He's so awkward. He has weird movements in the scrambles, weird movements with his punches, and he's unbelievably strong, is something that Seth told me, as well as Bader.
205 for CB Dollaway.
The one thing they said, though, is they call him the belly of a fish, because they said he is so pale
Short Fuse Herman.
they can't see anything else.
All right, well, Ed Herman, maybe not that much more tan, Dominic. We haven't seen him fighting in quite some time. Last fight was a year ago. He was scheduled to
205.5
was scheduled to fight at UFC 209, but pulled out due to an undisclosed injury. But this man does have a finish win over Tim Boach, so he is a powerful, powerful fighter for sure.
And in the welterweight division, James Krause versus Tom Galicchio.
Well, there's Tom Galicchio. This guy is a tough, strong kid with an excellent chin and an infectious smile. This guy is always smiling. You can't help but like this guy. And one thing you don't want to do with Tom is give up your back. He is just phenomenal from that back position. Excellent with that rear naked choke, as we saw all season long.
170 for the tank. Tom
Like you said, Kenny,
Galicchio.
absolutely impossible to not like Tom Galicchio.
Everybody
And
loves
his
him.
opponent, James Krause.
Well, you saw on last night's episode of The Ultimate Fighter, James Krause had a little issue with his eye, and then after The Ultimate Fighter, he actually had a staph infection that landed him in the hospital for 10 days. He's healed, he's ready to go, he wants to make this his 3rd octagon victory in a row. He's fired up to finally be back in health.
170 for James Krause.
Interesting too, he really didn't need to go on The Ultimate Fighter. He was already in the
Exactly.
UFC, but it was an opportunity, something that he felt like he'd missed before and really wanted to take.
250K is good motivation.
I mean, hey,
Quite a bit of
that's
money.
a lot of cash.
In our featured bout of the FS1 prelims in the women's strawweight division, Angela Overkill Hill versus Ashley Spider Monkey Yoder.
All right, well, you remember both of these women from The Ultimate Fighter. Listen, Ashley Yoder is a woman who hasn't fought since last December, but she told me she was happy to have that time off. She's been able to connect the dots in some of the things that weren't really working for her before. So she is excited to get back out here and put those things to the test against Angela, who she does know from the show.
Angela Overkill trains at Alliance Training Center with all of us. She is doing so well because she believes in the coaching. She started this sport just training with her husband and then fell in love with it and never stopped. Since then, she's with Eric Del Piero at Alliance MMA, and she just listens to anything he says to win.
115 for Angela Hill.
And the strength of this is she believes in her coaching. She believes in her teammates, so she has more strength in her mind and understanding what she's capable of. She's excited for this matchup. Also being a former Invicta champ.
Yup.
Big step up. She just keeps moving.
All right, in the FS1 main card, kicking off in the light heavyweight division. Jordan Johnson versus Marcel Fortuna.
There's Marcel Fortuna. In his UFC debut, he actually took on Anthony Hamilton at heavyweight and still won with the knockout in round 1. Here he is going back to the light heavyweight division where he is undefeated. He started his training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at 16 years old. He was a world champion at the brown belt level, Pan Am champion at the black belt level. You know who his hero is? Damian Maia, of course.
205.5 for Marcel Fortuna. And his opponent, Jordan Johnson.
I got in a train alongside Jordan Johnson in San Diego. He's an awesome dude. He loves brown corduroys and his Ford Tempo that he bought used off of Parks and Recreation. His style, literally, this is real. He's an awesome dude. His style is like a mixture of Ben Rothwell and Tim Sylvia if they had a child. That's how this man fights. And my couch still stinks from him sweating through it. I'm mad at you.
205.5 for Jordan Johnson.
Can't wait for this matchup.
It's great. Johnson looks bigger than Fortuna, who just fought at heavyweight. Wow.
They're both big boys.
Next up in the middleweight division, Brad Tavares versus Elias the Spartan THEODOROU.
The Spartan Elias THEODOROU is calling this fight with Brad Tavares the main event. M-A-N-E, get it? With those luscious locks.
Got it.
He's always promoting that hair that he's got. But he said he believes his out-of-the-box style will be the reason that he gets his 15th professional win. He's obviously trying to do some bottle flipping there, but just focusing on getting on the scale here. The Spartan said he believes that he can be champion, and it's just a matter of time.
186 for Elias THEODOROU.
Until the rest of the world recognizes that.
I think his hair doubles in length every time we see him.
Tavares.
I gotta ask him about that conditioner or something.
Well, there's Brad Tavares, a Hawaiian who packs a lot of power in his hands, has excellent leg kicks as well. And when he lets his combos fly, he's very tough to deal with. Just needs to throw more volume out there. And when he has confidence, he's a tough guy to beat, no doubt about it. Loves to scrap with Ultimate Fighter 11 competitor.
186 for Brad Tavares.
And this should be a fun fight, guys.
Of course, the great Ray Sefo up there with him, his coach for a long time.
Next up in the light heavyweight division, Jared the Killer Gorilla Cannoneer versus Nick ROEHRICK.
Talk about late notice. Nick ROEHRICK took this fight on just a couple of days' notice, just about 3 days. However, it worked out because he was actually preparing to be on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series next week. So his weight was already ready, his conditioning was ready, and when the UFC calls, he was ready to say yes. He's maintained a perfect record over 7 fights, with 3 of those wins being finishes, and he's already fought twice.
205.5 for Nick ROEHRICK.
In 2017.
And his opponent, Jared Cannoneer.
Jared Cannoneer is fighting out of Anchorage, Alaska by way of Dallas, Texas. He's still currently employed as a transportation system specialist, which is considered FAA for those of you who don't know the airways. Other than that, 6 first-round finishes, 5 knockouts, and 2 submissions. This guy can mix it up. Jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and stand-up. And obviously
204 for Jared the Killer Gorilla Cannoneer.
got the superhero look on. He says he got his nickname because he simply loves gorillas.
Takes the sunglasses off to get a better look as an opponent, huh?
And in the lightweight division, Mark Bone Crusher DIAKIESE versus KLOSE.
There's KLOSE, has the Same name as my favorite cologne in high school, KB. I used to kill it with that cologne. You have no idea. I'm telling you, my go-to cologne. Has a dangerous right hand. He's a college wrestler. And I think he's going to be wanting to use that wrestling against DIAKIESE.
Mark DIAKIESE.
Bone crusher Mark DIAKIESE will be fighting in Las Vegas for the first time in his professional MMA career. And you know, he's been a hot prospect for a while. He's got a 12-0 record, but now he's got a platform on this card where he can really display his skill set. When talking about this matchup, he said Klose makes a lot of silly mistakes that he's going to capitalize on.
Mark DIAKIESE.
And I believe Dan Hardy signed off on the red mohawk, right?
Yeah.
I believe he did. Uh-oh.
I think Jakar is a Hardy fan. He's mad. All right, guys, I am out. That face-off, I'm going to go interview these guys, and I'll see you in a little bit.
You got to do the best one so far, Megan.
All right.
See you in a bit.
Next up, the Ultimate Fighter welterweight final between Diego Lima and Jesse JT Money Taylor.
All right, as we mentioned before, JT Money was a Season 7 finalist, but did not get to fight into the finals due to, let's just say, getting ahead of himself the night before, acting like a wild man, and didn't get to fight in the finals. He did have one fight in the UFC that did not go his way, lost to CB Dollaway.
171.
He is so ready to get this right the second time around. I think we're going to lock him in this room tonight, though, guys.
Exactly.
Diego Lima was a Team Dillashaw contestant on Tough 25 and Team Edgar contestant on Tough 19. He's had 2 shows. I mean, that's a lot to learn with 2 high-level fighters. Fighting out of Atlanta, Georgia with ATT. Let's let us check his weight.
170 and a half for Diego Lima.
Extra's pumped up, says he had good game planning with Brian Stan out there. Gotten to get a good thing going to face his nemesis here for his next scrap.
Now let's take a closer look at the 2 men fighting in the main event of the evening.
Being here in the UFC, it's sort of like a dream come true for me. You know, I'm 17-0 with 14 knockouts. When I was fighting outside of the UFC, I said I was the best, and to me, I sounded like a coward because I wasn't even in a position to fight these guys. There is no higher level than the UFC, so here I am. I'm ready to fight. My first match is going to be against Michael Johnson.
I come back with these losses and wins, but I can't keep playing that game, so I feel like I have so much weighing on me to go into this fight and compete and to win. The broken must evolve the most, and I have done that. So Justin is in for a rude awakening when he steps in here and he's fought somebody that's been around the block more than a few times. This isn't the C League, but this is a whole different world. And you know, I'm gonna open him up to that. I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna look to physically harm this guy any way I can.
Michael Johnson with a knockdown. Poirier's out. The menace is back.
You know, I have to dominate every second of this fight, every position, and I have to show him that you know, he's not ready for the big lights in the UFC.
I've never been impressed with Michael Johnson's skills. He's not super explosive, super athletic. He quit.
It is all over.
He's quit before. Once a quitter, always a quitter. I mean, that's as true as it gets right there. And I never quit. I'm gonna be in your face, trying to knock you out every single second.
His weaknesses are he's very sloppy. You know, and you get away with it in World Series of fighting, but this is a whole different world, man. I'm too fast, I'm too quick. It's going to be a very frustrating night for Justin inside that cage. Nothing's going to stop me from winning this fight.
Welcome to the scale, Justin, the Highlight Gaethje.
Justin went to school in Northern Colorado, 7-0 as an amateur in MMA, and now he's also a Division I All-American, placed recently number 7 in that high-level wrestling world.
156 for the highlight, Justin Gaethje.
No secret, Justin Gaethje loves double legs and uppercuts. If you've seen any of his fights, and that's exactly what you're going to see him throw against Michael Johnson.
Well, there's Michael Johnson, has fast hands to go with his fast fights, has 8 first-round finishes, 8 knockouts. Told us yesterday he's been working a lot on his wrestling with Greg Jones and his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with Gilbert Burns, a world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
155 for Michael Johnson.
He is so ready for this fight.
So ready.
Here we go.
I don't know about you guys. I see Joe Silva smiling back there. I think he's missing these days.
That's right. All right, I'm here with Justin Gaethje. Justin, for a long time, you felt like you're the best lightweight on the planet. Tomorrow, your first chance to prove it against Michael Johnson. Thoughts going in?
This guy's a poser. Look at him. Time's up, Mr. Johnson. That's it. Yep. 28 hours, about 8 minutes. Time's up.
All right, I'm here with the 5th-ranked lightweight in the world, Michael Johnson. Mike, the talk is over. You fought some of the best in the world. What do you have to prove going in tomorrow night?
Stan, you already know what it is, man. The Grim Reaper has no words for his victims before he takes them.
There you have it, folks. We got a great main event. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.
All right, that is it. The Grim Reaper has no words, gentlemen, but I'm hoping that you do. Dominic, what's your takeaway here from the stare down?
Well, Gaethje gave him about, what was it, 28 hours or something to try to
minutes.
figure out with something to say. So maybe the Reaper can think of something. I don't know. But the point is, these two don't like each other. They are going to try to rip each other's heads off. There's no question about it. And their styles match perfectly. They're both boxer-style wrestlers, both extremely quick. I think it's more power versus speed in this one. Gaethje being the power, speed being Michael Johnson. Let's see how it goes.
And Kenny, you know, we talk about redemption. Obviously, that is the theme of The Ultimate Fighter Season 25. Perhaps Jesse Taylor, no more in need of redemption than this man. He's here, he's motivated. His wrestling is basically unstoppable.
Jesse Taylor has phenomenal wrestling, but more than anything else, at this point, he's got to be thinking, you know what? This is my opportunity to right that wrong. He's been here before. He made it to the finals, wasn't able to compete. This is his chance to make everything right and make 250 G's.
Yeah. A little bit of cash.
Yeah.
Not to mention Diego Lima. I mean, he's been on 2 shows, 2 Ultimate Fighters now, as well as Jesse Taylor. But that's what makes this so cool is these guys are getting a redemption shot, and both of these guys want redemption as bad as the next. They both. You heard their stories. They both have a crazy story, so I can't wait to see who comes up on top.
And stylistically opposite styles as well, so it should be an interesting fight to see who dominates. It all gets started tomorrow. Join us at 5 Eastern on FS2 for the UFC 213 weigh-in show. That will be followed by the Tough Finale pre-fight show at 6 on FS1, prelims at 7, main card at 9, and then stick around for the post-fight show immediately following the main event. That is also on FS1. So now, be sure to stick around. Justin Gaethje will be joining us shortly. We, of course, have plenty more coverage from Las Vegas. Here is Justin right now. We are going to welcome him in. We've got a lot to talk to you about, my friend, so get comfortable. We'll be back. Stay with us here on the Tough Finale weigh-in show. Good to see you, sir.